in the hospital, they taught me, and this is kind of standard procedure there, if there's a mate who's willing. So I actually did my first catheterization in the hospital, under the guidance of the hospital staff there, and so I wasn't prepared for that. I mean, and that was really just the beginning. I mean, that was nothing. From after she got home, really, was when it really started. They figured that this was going to be a lifetime of this. It was really this huge journey of having everything that I thought was going to be my life, our life together, completely shattered. And another thing taking its place. But what took its place, I really couldn't see yet.
This ongoing responsibility can be demanding, especially for the primary partner.
This was the hardest work I've ever had to do, both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. It was just way over the top for me. I had no training for this.
And you're used to having your mate and moving around the countryside and with ease, and then all of a sudden your whole partnership reality shifts. And the things that we were familiar with all of a sudden were completely different. And he was in a capacity with me that most partners never get into with each other.
There were moments when I had a lot of anger towards Molly. I didn't really feel those things, yet because this has impacted my life and I have to go through things that were uncomfortable, I felt resentment.
After Molly left the hospital, she and Jeremy worked to build a life that was relatively normal, despite the added demands of her daily care.
We get involved with caretaker and mate and partner and all those kinds of things. Well, when you're catheterizing your wife, it's got to be really challenging to then consider, well, now how on earth do I become sexually intimate because yes, doing those things is intimate, but it's not in the same category.
It was just so different from anything that I'd experienced. It was having to deal with a completely different situation, and it was not, how do I get through this? I mean, again, it was just pushed me way beyond my boundaries. To be open-minded, to be open-hearted, to be in the moment, to reach those things that were important, that connection that Molly and I had, having nothing to do with what we knew before, It hit the point on several occasions where I just thought to myself, I don't know if I can do this.
Come in here for a second, give me your knee.
Just like this.
Okay. So I was having moments I have had difficulty, being who I am in this new situation and finding a comfortable place and just letting it go and not resisting.
Jeremy, there was a time when he wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do. And I was in a position to go, well, if this is what it's going to be, I don't want to do this either. Because the word that comes up is burden. And yet, I have, recovered more and more and more. So the issue of burden, it still runs around. Dealing with my wheelchair, whenever Jeremy and I go someplace and he needs to move this chair and help me put on my underwear and help me dress, all that stuff would go on.
I was profoundly sad that my life changed and that Molly's, physicality had changed. This was huge. Molly and I would actually have conversations about that. And basically what they did was it sent me on a deep inner search of what really was important to me, and what, wait a minute, what is okay, so this one can't walk, so what, I go find somebody, one that can walk? Is that the issue? Well, no, that wasn't quite the answer. So then what was it? It's like, well, somebody that I don't have to take care of this way? Well, yeah, okay, but then it's back to, well, then, gee, I just spent over 40 years of my life finding this person. So what's changed? Now that, oh, she got munched by a car, so she can't walk and she can't do these things here. So that's what changed. Is that really the most important thing to me? Come to find out, after processing through it, it was really the quality and what Molly and I had in our relationship was more important to me than whether she could walk.